was because he didn't think it was his fault, and you were like, I don't give a shit. I told you.
The other one didn't think, exactly. The other one didn't think it was his fault, so I should sit there and listen to two guys which blame each other. I'm not the judge. For me, you're two idiots, you know. When you said, tell us about Monaco, I'm gonna crush your fucking dreams.
Yeah. But it looked like a clown car.
But we are two clowns. What do you give two clowns? A clown car. You know, as I always say, Romain on a good day, there's nothing like him. But Romain on a bad day, there's nothing like him as well, you know. He should chop his head off and not just sit him on the bench for one race, you know.
What's up, Vankahs?
Hello, Vankahs!
Hello, all you wankers.
Yes, there we go.
Yes, that's it, baby. Episode 2 of Vankah Hours is here. You thought it was a one-off? Well, guess what? It's not. We got Guenther on. It's the Guenther pod, baby, and we're here to talk Monaco. We're here to talk the news. We're here to talk everything Formula One. So, guys, where should we begin? Should we start with Monaco?
Can you explain Monaco to us? Because everyone says you got to be there. You've been there a number of times. Explain Monaco to us.
Well, where do we start? It's one of these places you want to be there, but when you're there, you don't want to be there.
Oh,
you know, how to explain it is difficult. I mean, if you're a Formula One fan, you want to be there because it is cool. But it's a lot of stuff going on. You want to be seen it, but if you're there the second, third, fourth, fifth time, I wouldn't say it gets old, but it's more of the same. And it's a pain in the ass, basically, you know, because you cannot walk anywhere. Everything is crowded, you know. It's such a small place. There is not more space. You cannot go anywhere. And for me, racing, I mean, as we saw this year, and I don't want to be negative here. I mean, for me, the race is on Saturday. That is where, you know, it's on Saturday, the race. That's what it is now. But otherwise, I mean, obviously to take the feeling in, you get so much of the history of F1. You learn so much about it. Why F1 is what it is. You know, if you have been there, you realize that was the place 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago where the jet set went, you know. This is the old Miami. It's the old Las Vegas. You know, it's basically why people went there. You know, people went there for the race, like they go to Miami or go to Vegas, but they went also there for the entertainment. That was different to Monaco than all the other races. While now, all the other races have got a lot of more entertainment as well in it.
Right. Well, so now it seems like, you know, with Vegas and Miami, exactly. Now there's that celebrity aspect of things has reached there, but Monaco still feels like it's that peak. I guess our question is like, what's the kind of craziest, richest, wildest thing that you've seen or done in your years going to Monaco?
I haven't done anything, Rich. I always worked there. I never went for fun. I mean, you always forget about it, guys. Yeah. You always think, you know, as a team principal, you go around and go to parties, hang out with the rich and famous. No, you work your ass off all day long, and then in the evening, you maybe go for a dinner, but then you go back to the hotel to sleep.
You're not making deals with Chipotle executives on yachts and stuff.
No. I did never do a deal in Monaco because that's what everybody thinks. The big deals are all done in Monaco. No, because normally the people are too drunk to do a deal there. You know, so
no, that's when you get to make the deal. You get them.
Good old days. Good old days. Not possible anymore in the corporate world. You know, so I'm the boring guy here. I mean, I crush all your dreams and all your, you know. So I'm the boring guy here.
So you've never been on a yacht? You've never been on one of those yachts? How many yachts have you been on in Monaco? Or
I've been on yachts, but you know, you go there, as you say, you speak with people, but you go there, but you cannot take it in because if you're doing work, you cannot go around. Oh, what a great yacht you have, you know, and it's like let's talk about business, you know. It's pretty boring, you know, what we are doing. So, but no, it's always cool to go on these big yachts. I mean, they are, you know, a palace on the water.
You're doing business on a yacht. You could be on a fucking. You could be. I mean, it's better than being on a Zoom right now with us, right?
Yeah, I don't know, but you've got a lot of pressure because you need to do this deal. You know, with you guys, I haven't got pressure. I need to explain you that it isn't as old, glamorous as you think. You know,
I got you.
Crushing your dreams. You know,
okay.
But guys, still go to Monaco.
So okay. So now you're telling me that Monaco sucks as much off track as it does on track. So really, you're telling me, Guenther, that there's fucking nothing redeeming about this thing. I was trying to save you. I was trying to give you a lifeline. Say no, off the track. It's
How did I start it? How did I start when you said, "Tell us about Monaco"? It's, you know, I'm gonna crush your fucking dreams.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah.
Okay.
Guenther Steiner here to crush all of our dreams.
So how would you fix it? Would you? Or
Yeah.
How would you? We made you god of F1. You're Bernie now. What do you do?
I would put a big yacht in the harbor for me. Invite you two guys, have a big party, and then just make something up that is now fixed. As long as you can find someone who pays for it. Seriously speaking, I don't know how to. I think there's obviously now ideas running around after Sunday how to fix it. First of all, there needs to be a little bit of strategy with the red flag in the beginning. The red flag, that killed it all. That was it. Nobody had to change tires anymore. But also, I think on the circuit, somehow there must be some smart architect out there which can, with all the building work which is going on in Monaco, to put somewhere in that you make it a little bit different. It's the same, I don't know how many years, 50 years. The cars have gone so much bigger. Everything has changed. Guess what hasn't changed? Where we race in Monaco, So at least there is some, they're building now houses, villas out in the sea in Monaco, Come on, guys, make the track a mile longer and put somewhere in where you can challenge a little bit with race cars. If you want to keep the Grand Prix, that's my opinion. You need to do that. A lot of other people are doing this stuff. Look what they put up in Abu Dhabi,
Right.
Things you can do this stuff these days. And then on the racing, I would say just make a special regulation for tires in Monaco. You have to change 2 times the tires and you have just to use soft ones.
Would you say to use that, or would you say that you have to use all 3 compounds? That's what I was kind of thinking. That you have to use like the
You could
soft
do the same,
medium, and the hard. Yeah.
You could do, as long as you need to change them, because then again it's like when you change them first, which one you go in there, when do you what? So at least you open it up. But something needs to be done. I think mandatory pit stops, more than one. And if you have got a red flag, or if the race is stopped in the first 5 laps, that doesn't count to the pit stops, for example, you can change them, but it doesn't count as a mandatory pit stop, so, but it's fixable, because as I said before, as much as I maybe sounded negative about Monaco, which I'm not, because it's still a cool place, but we need to spice it up, because otherwise the race is over on Saturday afternoon.
I'm with you on that, because I like, there's all this Monaco hate, and I like Monaco. Honestly, Saturday qualifying is more thrilling than some entire race weekends. Yeah. So, let's not just say that the whole thing is boring, because Saturday qualifying, can be better than, a Silverstone some years. I mean, it's like it's got the juice, it's got the thrill. This year was that qualifying session, I was thrilled at. And also, if there is a time where you can actually use a strategy play, you're right. The red flag of lap 1 killed any type of, moment that could ever happen there. And even with the microclimates and the rain coming in, Monaco will throw enough kind of crap at you, and people crashing, the red flags, all that kind of stuff. I think that people who want to get rid of it, I think you gotta see your way out.
No, we need to find a solution for it. To make it, as you said, I mean, the rain would throw everything, out of the window, every strategy. You would need to do something new. But mandatory tire changes would do that as well, because then at least you can play and you react to other people. And everybody would go wide open, flat out, which was the most, I wouldn't say, boring thing on Sunday, the speed of it. Everybody was just managing that nobody could get a pit stop in and then have a new set of tire and maybe have a try to attack somebody, That was the strategy.
Was it Nico or was it George where it said it doesn't benefit us to go faster? I mean, that's just like an anathema to racing.
Yeah, that's quite the wrong thing to say in racing,
Yeah.
We want to go slow to race, yeah. How about that, The slowest guy wins.
Yeah.
How is that working,
Well, Monaco's famous for the celebrity kind of appearances. What's your favorite celebrity Monaco moment encounter?
I would say the boxer. I don't get the name now.
Conor?
McGregor?
Conor McGregor. Yeah, McGregor, yeah. Because he scared the shit out of me, So.
In what way? We saw his speech that he gave where he was like, "You're gonna go out there and you're gonna crush him." What was McGregor's vibe in the paddock?
I think, the presence of this guy, it's something I've never seen before. His whole, this must be boxing. I've never been a boxing match, so that what it is about. That's why it is so popular, I think. But the guy is just, wow. It was like, Like, dude, I'm not saying anything wrong, because it will hurt,
Yeah.
So I tried to keep distance from him, but it wasn't easy, I think he was pretty quick as well, So.
Yeah.
Well, it was funny when he gave like his speech. I don't know if he like understood like what Formula One is. That Formula One is what's interesting about Formula One is that like it represents like real life in a way. It's actually representative of life because it's like, if you're not in one of these it's like sometimes the best you're gonna do is 10th. Like you're shooting for 10th. But McGregor kind of was like, we're gonna go out there and we're gonna win. Like he thought just through like his sheer will, which is like I think how a boxer thinks. It's like I can overcome any obstacle. It's like no, we're dealing with machines here. We're dealing with budget. Like, I think it's an interesting conversation around like the motivation.
He is a boxer, Brian. In the end,
Yeah. But did you ever like give a pump up? Like, what's your biggest like pump up speech that you've ever given? Were there like times where you like gave a halftime speech where you really tried to rally the troops?
Not in the McGregor style, because they wouldn't believe me. They would think, what the hell is he talking about? I mean, we better call the doctor in for him,
Yeah.
So, but it's a different sport, as you said. For him, I don't know. He's at Monte Carlo for the car race. He's in Monte Carlo because it's Monte Carlo. That's the stuff you want. You guys wanted to go for, not for the car race, just to be with the rich and famous, and hang out and have parties, While we normal people have to work there.
Guenther, would you say your pump-up speeches are less to your crew and your drivers and more to like sponsors and investors? You got to get in there. You got to dig deep, guys. We have to dig deep.
When you speak with the guys, when you have a difficult season, what you have to do is just give them credible goals. Obviously telling them we are going to win in 3 races is like it's not going to happen, guys.
Right.
and these people know. So you look like an idiot, as I said before, and they never believe you again. You need to tell them or try to give them, something credible we want to achieve, and let's do it. But obviously with sponsors, investors, you need to try to keep them happy by being also realistic, because otherwise it catches up with you. It's normal. Things catch up with you. It's how long can you survive on a speech. For me, a speech is not for surviving. For me, a speech needs to be realistic to achieve something.
Mm-hmm. Okay, speaking of what's realistic, let's discuss what's happening with Red Bull. How realistic is this Red Bull decline, and how realistic is a challenger really this season? Do you think that McLaren or Ferrari really have a chance to maybe win the Constructors, or even on a longer shot, can someone nab the driver's title this year?
I don't know. I wouldn't call it a Red Bull decline, because I think it's a catch-up of the other ones. I don't think Red Bull is getting slower or worse. It's just like the other ones are catching up. Obviously now, Red Bull being challenged, they have to take more risk. They are more on the edge. They make more mistake. It's like life in general. When you're hunted down, it's easier to make a mistake when you're out there. Oh, everything is good. Even if I make a mistake, it's still good, So now I think it's getting more challenging, and they will make mistakes. There will be problems with the car. I mean, as Max complained about the suspension, they will now have to work. I don't think it's a decline. So back to, yes, the other two have catched up. And that is the only way to do it. If you hope that somebody is starting to go slower, especially a team like Red Bull in Formula One, I don't think that will happen, guys. That is not going to happen. But the other ones, I mean, they're good. They're good teams, and they catched up quite a bit now.
Do you think they're legitimately caught up to them, or do you think like the last couple tracks they haven't suited Red Bull? It seems like the Red Bull, you mentioned the suspension, the street tracks, the bumpy tracks, they might struggle in Canada. But do you think that like come the whole European kind of leg of the season, when it's all the road tracks, when it's the purpose-built tracks, they're a bit smoother, do you think that Red Bull is going to still have that edge, or do you think that it's going to be neck and neck for the rest of the year?
I think some of the tracks, one team will be better and the other one another will be better, but now there is almost 3. I don't think, like we called at the beginning of the year, the Red Bull dominance. I think that is over now. They can be challenged everywhere, and they will have track where they are better than the other two. Like we had Ferrari better in Monaco than the other two. Like Imola, the McLaren was very fast, was better than the other two. Okay. So I think it will change all the time now.
All right, let's start everything at 0 points now. No lead. We're cleaning the slate. Who do you think wins from here on out? Like gets
one
the most
of the
most
three.
points.
One of the three.
cutting edge analysis from an F1
exactly.
insider, one of the three.
Well, there's an interesting conversation also because there's constructors and then there's the driver. And because I think, Perez, you're right, this Red Bull car seems to be on a knife's edge now. Like, to get it to the point where it actually is faster, it means that the car is not, like last year they had this huge window. They were good in any condition. Their race pace was just unmatched. They were just comfortable. This year, it's like to make that car work and to make that car the fastest car on track, it's a pain in the ass to drive. And it seems like Max has a hold of it, but even sometimes he slips. And Perez, it's like, he's having trouble finding that car. So it seems like, to me, from here on out, like Red Bull's not winning that Constructors' Championship.
If you would start with zero, no, I don't think they wouldn't, because as a team, as you see with what Checo, if you just take the points Checo has got compared with his teammate, the percentage-wise, and you compare the other two teams, they've got, as teams, they are better set up with the drivers. I mean, and I always say Checo is not a bad driver, it's just like the other are more close together as drivers.
Okay, so I have a question. Christian, it was very off with their heads in Red Bull when it came to Albon, when it came to Gasly, when it came to Fiat. Why do you think Perez keeps getting such a long leash over there?
It's one of these questions I ask myself sometimes. It's like, why you don't give another guy a chance? I mean, Tsunoda is doing a fantastic job, I think, in the Racing Bulls. In the RB team, he's doing a fantastic job there, and I mean, now it looks like that Perez is renewed for next year, while you've got options out there like Sainz. Albon was out there. Obviously, now he's not out there because he has signed for Williams. But it's one of these things. I don't really know. And maybe that attitude changes by not having the dominant car anymore, because you need both drivers to score points, as we just said before, because the other two teams, they've got this year, obviously, Carlos and Leclerc, and Carlos won a race this year, and McLaren has got Piastri, which finished second in Monte Carlo, did a fantastic job, and Norris, we don't have to question him, so maybe something changes in the way of Red Bull is thinking, but there is not, I mean, except Carlos, I don't think there's many choices out there anymore.
Yeah, I have a question about, we've got Ferrari, we've got McLaren. They seem to be, they've done well with their car. They've been able to catch this thing up. Matt and I sometimes have a debate about whether a team like McLaren, because they're a customer team, they're not a manufacturer, they don't make their own engine, whether they're on some level always somewhat behind the ball than a team that can build their own engine and is a manufacturer. These 2026 regulations are coming up. But when I look at what's going on in Mercedes, I think it doesn't seem like they have an understanding of the car. I don't have a ton of faith in the Mercedes, in the aero necessarily. I don't think their engine's great, but I don't think that in the aero. I guess the question is, in this era, can a customer team really dominate over a team that they get the engine from?
So what you are saying, if Mercedes would be a customer, they would be nowhere. No.
They're already kind of nowhere.
You said that, not me. Otherwise, I get a phone call from Toto. What did you say about me?
No, they're alone, right in the middle. They're just alone.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
they have their own championship. Put it this way. That is what. Yeah, they got their own championship. They are privileged. No. It's like McLaren. It is no advantage being a customer, but in the last, I would say, 3 to 5 years, the rules have changed dramatically for customer engines. As a customer, you cannot have a worse engine than the works team, performance-wise. It's regulated by the FIA. You need the same hardware, and you need the same software, the same mapping. You get the same. It's all checked. So there's not something like this. But for example, a new regulation for 26, obviously being a manufacturer, it is an advantage, because you sit down, say, as the chassis team, aero team, you sit down with the engine guys and say, this is what we need out of you. You dictate it, while as a customer, you are told what you will get, So going into a new regulation, you have a little bit of an advantage. Once the regulations are settled, I think you have got enough understanding, and you cannot have a worse engine than the works team. So, and sometimes I would say, even as a customer, if you do a good job, you have got something less to think about. Right. They take the practical way and say, hey, I'm told what it is. It's good enough for the works team. I will get the exact the same. So I focus to get the best out of this package instead of focusing how can I make the engine department make something for me.
How early do you get those, like, if you're at Haas, you're getting engines from Ferrari, like in the new regulation set, there's a new engine, like is Ferrari working on the engine for like how long? A year before you get to see the specs of what it's going to look like so you can figure out how you're going to set up your car around it? Like, what's the policy with that?
It depends, but I would say for 26, they will start to give information middle of this year. Just, geometric, basic information, not detailed information. But I think heat rejection figures, which is the most important thing for aero department, you will get them beginning of next year, not before. That the exact figures, how you radiators need to be designed, how much heat rejection you have between oil, water, hydraulics, and all that stuff. But you get basic data already this year, what the engine will look like.
Is that like Christmas for you, or you're just like, guys, figure it out?
It's, we all like something new. It's always the same. We always, there's something new, let's look into it. And everybody gets excited about. But in the end, you need to stay calm because it doesn't mean a lot. Because as great and cool as it look like, you don't know what the other manufacturers are doing. So that could be even cooler shit,
Okay, let's talk about a manufacturer. Let's talk about Alpine. Let's talk about this manufacturer and the season that they're having.
But I want to start. But can we start from like farther back? They were Renault. Then they were like, we're Lotus. Then they're Renault again. Then they're actually we're Alpine. You have Fred gets his head cut off. Then Cyril gets his head cut off. Then Rossi gets his head cut off. Then Safnauer gets his head cut off. Now we have this guy. The only guy left standing is this guy Bruno. Famine, who, if I remember correctly, was in charge of the engines that don't work so well. He's now running the team. Like, what is going on there? Like, there seems to be like, and then the drivers hate each other. So like, there seems to be this culture, this chaotic. Can you what's going on over there? Like,
You said it all. I mean,
but why?
Like,
but why?
But you didn't go back far enough. It was Stoleman, it was Benetton, it was everything. Yeah. I think why? I think as a manufacturer, you are almost obliged to deliver. And as you say, they started off with, nobody had really the chance to do something there. Or of the management, it's like everybody tries to find a quick fix. There are no quick fixes in F1. Everything takes time, and lower you go, more time it takes to catch up. There is not like a magic fix or put this guy in and you will be world champion. That would be too easy. It's different. It's much more complex. Like for example, a football team. Some of the football teams, you get a new manager in, like soccer, because I don't know enough about NFL to talk half intelligent here, never mind intelligent, So, but in soccer, you put a new manager in, he brings in 3-4 good players. All of a sudden, look what Klopp did in at Liverpool FC. It made a good team out of it from nowhere. In F1, it's more difficult because there's so many moving parts that first of all, you need to get the right person in to do it, and you need to give the right person time and believe in her. You cannot just change. Because that as you saw with Alpine, Renault, whatever we want to call it, that's what happened. Everybody was in there a year, and they kept on changing. And if you look back in history, that never worked in an F1 team.
So you're saying that like the CEO or whoever's in charge there just thinks that they can be the one that can do it in a year? Why do they think they're so special?
I guess so, because I don't know why that is thought. I don't think a CEO these are big corporates. You've got the board. The board is, they're all watching it on Sunday. They all have got a solution for it, and everybody tries to do his little bit, and they've got great power if you're a works team of a manufacturer.
Is that the kind of like the difference between, it's like, Haas had its own troubles, dealing with the sole owner, but sometimes it's probably nice if you're just dealing with the one person as opposed to going through all this like red tape, a million cooks in the kitchen. At Haas, it seemed like there were just like a couple, it was you and Gene and maybe like other people that we don't know about, but it seemed like it was a much smaller kitchen where you can actually just kind of maybe make a quick decision as opposed to
that didn't work out, though.
But in theory, there's something that maybe could be, useful about that, right?
Yeah. I think we can take an example, Red Bull. When Mr. Mateschitz was still around,
Right.
It was a big corporate with the right finances behind. He had a good vision. He knew F1. He understood it, but didn't get involved in the day-to-day business. He put there as long as people delivered. He left them alone working at it.
Right. Okay. Let's get into the day-to-day business, because now there's a situation. Ocon, makes that move. And now Bruno Femin is on Canal Plus talking about how, maybe seems like, there's rumblings that maybe Ocon's, looking elsewhere, that maybe he's talking to Haas, that he's not long for his time at Alpine. There's a threat now that he's going to get, suspended for the race. What's your thoughts on that?
Armchair team principal. What do you think?
I think suspending will take everything out of him, and they still have we are only a few races into this championship. I don't remember even anyhow, 7 I think it is now.
7,
there is a long way to go here. And if you start to suspend, what does that leave behind? I think you rather need to tell him that's armchair team principle here. Either you go with this, or next time you're out. There is not like, I suspend you, I give you a penalty like a child, because then the child is getting upset. And as soon as the team does something wrong, because he's just part of a team, as soon as the strategist gives him the wrong strategy, so he will go back, he messed my race up. And you create this way of blame culture. I blame you. No, you sit him down. If this happens again, you're out of the team. We get on to the next one. That's what I would be doing.
How do we know he didn't sit him down before Monaco and says no lunging or I'm going to chop your head off?
We don't know, but then he should chop his head off and not just sit him on the bench for one race,
Yeah,
because I think that is counterproductive, especially as where they are at in the moment. They fight for every point, and then you create this. Everybody's just on the edge all the time. Sometimes a bitter end is there is a saying about it. I don't remember it now.
Well, historically,
a painful end is better than a never-ending pain.
Right. Yeah.
Well, historically, if I remember correctly, the way you dealt with two drivers crashing into each other was you said you blamed both of them. You said, I don't care who crashed into who,
right.
Because that's what Kevin Magnussen said in his book, by the way, why he was so pissed at you. Was because he didn't think it was his fault, and you were like, I don't give a shit. I told you.
The other one didn't think, exactly. The other one didn't think it was his fault, so I should sit there and listen to two guys which blame each other. I'm not the judge. For me, you're two idiots, That's what I told them.
It seems like, the dynamic, it didn't just happen in a vacuum that Ocon, did that lunge. I mean, these guys have not liked each other for a long fucking time. We saw in you didn't watch Drive to Survive, but in this season of Drive to Survive, they did, I don't know if you heard stories of this, but they did like a karting event, like a press kind of sponsored thing. And the two of them were on track and they just started going after each other. And Ocon wound up like lunging at Gasly and threw himself into the barriers and like fucked up his ribs during like an off-season like karting event. So these guys it's competitive and it's bitter from day dot with them. I guess my thought is,
first of all, you're at Haas again. Does this reputation that Ocon is developing as like a bad teammate, does that bother you? Does that scare you off as a team principal? It seems like he's had issues with every teammate he's had.
Obviously, you think about it. Oh yeah, absolutely. You think about it because it's just something you don't want, And I always say, teammates don't need to be the best friends. They don't need to go out for dinner, but they need to respect each other because in the end, respect. But that's general in life. You need to respect other people. It's not like if you don't like to drive with this guy in your team, just go somewhere else. If I don't like to be somewhere, I move on. I'm not trying to fight it at the cost of somebody else, which is the team, So if one of them should have said, I cannot be in the team with this other guy, and somebody else maybe should have seen that, as you say, everybody knows about the history of the two of them, and even their parents apparently, they have to keep them apart, It's like, That's not a good thing when you go, no, that's not what you want when you go in, we will be teammates. Yeah, it's all good. We just fought the last 20 years, but now it's all good,
Yeah. I know that like when Rosberg and Hamilton crashed in 2016 in Spain, I think that Toto put in like, if they crash, they have to pay they crash into each other, they have to pay for, the repairs. Are there any type of, I know that the Alcabezi sisters in F1 Academy, that their dad said, like, if you crash into each other, like, you're out, like, it's not happening, like, I'm pulling you out of the sport. I don't know if Ocon and Gasly can, like, pay for every crash because they're not flush, maybe like Lewis and Nico were, but, like, are there kind of clauses that you can put into a contract to say, like, if you two crash into each other, there's going to be, like, a financial repercussion, there's going to be, like, real consequences here?
I think if you know that you need to put this in a contract, you shouldn't pick one of them. Yeah. It's honestly, because why would you do it? If you are worried about this, pick somebody else that you have got a team which can get on, that you don't have to force them to be teammates. Because as I told you, if you sit down two drivers and ask, why did you crash? Oh, it was his fault. And no, it was his fault. And you're sitting there listening of two guys blaming each other, and then you leave the meeting and say, okay, whose fault was it? My one in the end, because that is what they tell you by not admitting. Nobody stands up and admits it. So the only way is either you just tell him, if it is happening again, you go.
So you're in charge of. I'm making you in charge of Alpine. What is your decision at the end of this year? What are you doing?
I wouldn't have the same two drivers.
Okay, which two drivers are you trying to get?
I need to think now who's around. I mean, obviously, if you think, I don't think Sainz will go there. That's my opinion. But you would look after Tsunoda. As Alpine, as a works team, you should have the money to get the best driver on the market.
Right.
That is what you need to try. And I think from the drivers on the market, obviously Albon is gone. I think the next best driver on the market is obviously Sainz or Tsunoda. I would go after one of them.
So what do you think of so you would not consider rehiring Mick Schumacher?
In the moment, not, no.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think, as I said, you need to get the best driver is out there,
Right.
It's one of these things. I think people which are showing that they're very good, and as a works team, you need to do the best you can.
So you would scrap both of them?
I wouldn't say that. I mean, because it's obviously it's the nature of the two guys. They cannot get on with each other.
Right.
I mean, it's like we can talk that one another hour here. We will come to the same conclusion. So you can keep one. I know them both, but not very well. I never had intense dealings with them. I speak with both of them if I see them, but never had any intense dealings. So I wouldn't know which one to pick. But for sure, as two of them cannot get on. And on the other side, they've got other drivers as well there. I think, who have they got in their academy?
Jack Doohan?
Doohan, Jack, and the French guy which won the F3 championship, Martins, I think. They've got quite a few people there, so they've got, they could look into that one as well, should they not get one of the big guys.
Speaking of dysfunction at a team, what happened with how did this tape measuring DRS thing go wrong? How, other than a lack of great leadership? Other than
you said it,
huge
otherwise I
vacuum
get a
of
lawsuit.
leadership.
I get a lawsuit otherwise, if I say it.
If you had been there, I would have seen you in the garage with that little
I would have measured it myself, that. I mean, I would be all over the rear wing, measured. My tape measure there, always on the side in my belt,
Yeah, that's right. Everyone has always said about Guenther. Yeah. They've always said that he always made sure that the DRS,
that's what the T sounds for in TP is tape measure.
Tape measure.
Tape measurer. Yeah, so what happened there?
I don't know exactly what happened, but obviously it was an oversight, They had a new rear wing. It was an oversight of managing something,
a management issue, obviously.
A management issue, obviously,
And you couldn't help but poke the bear, given your current climate that you're in. You had to do an Instagram story with a tape measure. What inspired you to do that?
I just wanted to remind them, that I've got one. If you need it, I'm here to help. I'm not opposing you. I'm just here to help. I'm the good guy. Yeah, I like the guys there.
Oh, because if Haas called you and said, "Hey, Guenther, can you help us?" You would help them.
Measuring the rear wing, the DRS system, yeah, sure.
Okay.
I will fly over to Monte Carlo to do that.
Like Claire Williams with the nose cone, you'd come with your tape measure. Okay, so there isn't an English word for it, but I know there's a German word. I only know one German word: Schadenfreude.
Schadenfreude, yeah.
Yeah.
Is that something that you're experiencing at all?
No, I wouldn't say it that way. I've got quite a good sense of humor. I don't have any Schadenfreude. It doesn't do anything for me. There's nothing positive for me in Schadenfreude. It's like one of these things. Stuff happens, because it's always easy to critique people, as we always say, but it happens to everybody, You make mistakes and you pay for the consequences, You pay with the consequences, So, it's no, it's not Schadenfreude. I mean, the team. I mean, the guys working there. I still like them. I still some send me WhatsApp messages and things like this. So there's no bad feeling against the team.
All right, so you don't feel any Schadenfreude. I really just wanted to ask you about a German word.
You just want to show off with that you know German. I think that
right.
was the only reason you asked me this.
No, it's the perfect word.
It's a great word. I'm sure you're feeling a little bit of it, but you don't want to say it on mic, which is okay. That's okay. This crash, though, this thing happens with KMag. We know that KMag can be an agent of chaos. We know that he can he's a chaotic man.
Wait a minute. He's been more chaotic since Guenther left, I would say.
That's true. It kind of
Actually,
feels
that's a compliment for me. You see? You see, at least don't not.
Yes.
Okay.
That's true.
Thank you.
I feel like KMag is maybe going through like Dad's not in the house anymore. So like, fuck it. I'm gonna show you what a badass I am, Mom. Like
Guenther, were you the KMag whisperer?
I don't know if I was a whisperer, but he just knew. I think that I had an opinion if he did something stupid, So, and I don't think he wanted to challenge that one, to wake me up, to wake the sleeping dog up, here. So.
What would be the vibe if this crash happened? Like, if this crash happens under your watch, like, what are you saying to them afterwards?
I'd say, what the fuck, starting last, starting last, and it's just like no need for it, because there is no way in Monte Carlo that with any strategy starting last you can get into the points. It's just not. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. I mean, so why do you even try to do it? I mean, it's like I don't know.
Well, you know the man. Why did he try to do it?
That is the problem. I know the man, so that is the things he does, I mean, sometimes he just thinks there is something which isn't there. And in the end, it was obvious. If you start last after a weekend like this, it's like, okay, we start last. If not something very strange happens, don't coast a very strange thing. That's what actually happened. Now, we need to, if something very strange happened, we can get into the points, but do not start the strange thing,
Right.
And that's what happened in the end, they both were out.
Yeah, it seems like if you're in Monaco, especially if you're in the back, it's just like, let's keep our nose clean and hope that someone else is stupid in front of us, as opposed to you're bringing up the rear.
Let's be stupid.
You're doing damage. I mean, how much, like eyeballing, you saw that crash. Like, how expensive was that crash probably? What's a ballpark?
I mean, in this F1 cast, there's nothing, if you have a crash like this, nothing under $500,000.
Yeah.
There's nothing. I mean, a front wing costs $170,000. A rear wing costs $100,000. There is your $250,000. Then you rip a wheel or two off. So there you go. I mean, there's nothing under $500,000. So I haven't seen a real picture of the Haas car, but I saw the Red Bull. I mean, that was well destroyed. That thing.
A front wing is $135,000. I mean, he changes
more than that.
He changes those like outfits, KMag. I mean, he loves to get rid of the front wing. I guess, or do you think KMag was flattered by the fact that Roman was even more?
I think Roman was, as I always say, Roman on a good day, there's nothing like him. But Roman on a bad day, there's nothing like him as well. I mean,
right.
It's one of these things where you just have to say, enjoy the good days with him, because there will be a bad day coming. So, I saw him at Indy, and I say it about him, but I say it to him as well. So don't worry.
Yeah. You say it to his face.
Yeah.
Speaking of people making moves that maybe are successful, not successful. This whole Andretti situation has now taken a bit of a turn, because Mohammed Ben Sulayem, who previously was kind of their biggest, hey, get in here, we want more teams on the grid, do it the good and proper way. Now all of a sudden, he's in the press saying, hey, Andretti, if you want to get an F1, why don't you buy a team? Like, what are we doing here? Why are you trying to be an 11th team on the grid? You should buy a team. What do you think that the change of tone, what does it signify? We've heard that, maybe that the FIA and Liberty have had a couple meetings, like, let's bury some of the hatchet, let's bury some of like this animosity between us, and maybe that the teams are saying, like, let's get on the same page here, especially as Andretti is like drumming up noise in Congress to have someone take a look at this thing. Is that what you think that's what happened there? Just like kind of backroom dealings? What's going on over there?
If I just would know, when I read it, I haven't spoken since it came out with anybody to understand a little bit more in depth what happened. But obviously, it came out of the blue to me as well. It's like, wow, since 2 years, you say you should have a license, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, you came to the same conclusion like everybody else, So
right.
It's like, yeah, welcome to the club, Is that what was suggested 2 years ago from FOM, if you want to come in here? And Andretti had the chance a few years ago when they wanted to buy Sauber, as it was called at the time, Yeah. So I don't know, but I have no idea why Mohammed bin Sulayem all of a change his tacts.
Well, don't you know him?
Yeah, I know him pretty well, yeah.
Yeah, what's something about Mohammed bin Sulayem that nobody knows? That like, what's something? Because all we see is that he's in the pictures a lot.
I cannot say it here. Yeah. I cannot say that because then I'm not allowed in the paddock anymore, and then you don't want to have me here anymore.
What's a nice
you can say a good thing.
Nice
you can say a good thing.
Yeah, what good to have to say about? I have to think about.
You went straight to a horrible thing. It could have been a nice thing.
I didn't say
he's
anything.
a great tipper. You could have said, "Oh my God, you should have seen this guy tip." But no, you went straight to, I can't say that on the air.
I have to learn to be politically correct like you, Matt.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Exactly like me.
Right. Follow. Hey, just follow our lead, and you'll be fine.
Yeah, we'll be fine. Yeah.
Okay, so you heard it here on the Red Flags. Guenther's got nothing good to say about Mohammed Sulayem. That's exactly.
Or bad.
Nothing good.
Or bad.
I have nothing to say. That's not politically correct. There's nothing to be said about. Because whatever you say, it will be used against you, Yeah, exactly. So don't say anything good or bad.
Exactly.
Right down the middle. Blink twice if you're okay.
Yeah.
Well, there's another team that's also kind of been making waves, making noise, talking shit, and also trying to get this driver who seems to be out of their league. The situation going over on Williams. James Vowles is on the horn, taking shots at Visa Cash App, saying in free practice. I don't know if you heard this clip, but Vowles was like, well, we're going up against, the Visa Alpha buy one, get one free. I don't even know what to call them these days. Kind of taking shots at the kind of corporatization of F1, that Visa Cash App gets this rap of, how dare you be so upfront with your backers as opposed to Williams, who is backed by, VC, but gets the nice shiny. We're Williams organization, even though Claire Williams is like nowhere to be found. What do you think? As the changing dynamic in F1, as the aspect of the corporate facing of the corporate element of it becoming more front facing. Is that like a feeling in the whole paddock that people are like kind of annoyed by it, don't like it? What are your feelings on that?
I think it's just one of the things which is happening. So the corporate facing, as we said before, it can be a help, but obviously it doesn't add to the spectacle or what to do things. But with the a corporate always needs to be positive because there are investors behind it and stuff like this. So you always tell this story. Everything will be fine. I will be world champion next race, and as long as you have people which buy into it, you're fine. But in the end, at some stage, as you said before with Williams, a few weeks ago, Adrian knew he was going there. I didn't hear anything about that one anymore,
And Carlos Sainz. Where are all these rumors coming from, Guenther?
I don't think they're rumors. I think James said them openly. It's not a rumor. If the team principal says he's speaking with Adrian, obviously the press picks them up. That is the press there to do for. If somebody says it, you need to say it. It's not a rumor, which is not said behind the truck, as we call it.
Okay, let me rephrase it. Do you think there's any truth to these claims that James is seriously talking to Newey, and he's serious? Like, why is he saying that he, like, Carlos Sainz and he are in serious discussions, or he and Newey are in serious discussions? Why do you think he's doing that?
I mean, obviously not knowing if it is serious or not, I would say it's a little bit of wishful thinking. Obviously he's going to speak with the people. I mean, that is what you're doing. You should be speaking, but before you say them, you need to be a little bit more certain that they will happen. If anybody speak, I mean, if Toto would say, or Toto or Fred would say who they speak all day long, they would like, wow, Ferrari next year, they need another building to put all the people in that I spoke with, So it's like, it's call it a little bit of name dropping as well. Oh, we are getting Adrian Newey in here. It's just like, does Adrian really want to go to Williams? I don't know. I mean, maybe he wants, but I think there are, Adrian has got a lot of opportunities out there where he can go. He can pick where he can go. So I don't know why would he pick Williams, but maybe he knows. I mean, maybe they offer him something somebody else cannot offer him. Maybe he gets half of the team. I mean, that could be the advantage.
What's the advantage of telling the press I'm speaking to this guy? Because if he doesn't sign there, then you kind of you got egg on your face or whatever.
I think that because news are moving so fast, there will be another news story take over of that one that everyone will have forgotten about. And it will just catch up after a while when you had no success after a year or two. I mean, was it not that this is what you wanted to do and you didn't achieve it? And in the end, the results is the only thing which counts. But it's not only Formula One. It's in general in life, You can talk a lot of stuff and then never do something. And maybe James gets it all and he's world champion next year, which I'm fine with it, But it would make an interesting Formula One, But it's difficult to predict that one. And if I would be a betting man, I wouldn't be put my money on that one, So it's one of these things. You just do them and you see how long they go. But, obviously you always speak with people. As I said, as a team principle, you speak with a lot of people, but some is just like to exchange information. What are you doing? What are you doing? It doesn't mean that Carlos Sainz came to them begging for a cockpit. Obviously it's rightly to do so for James to ask Carlos, are you interested to come to Williams?
Right.
Well, let's have a talk about it.
There seems to be like a bit of like an over-promising though over there at the Williams side of things, and I think like we're talking, it's like you want to be, I'm as an actor, it's like I went in for one of the Star Wars movies, but like I never, I could say
I was told you wanted Brad Pitt's role in the Formula One movie.
That's right.
Brad Pitt told me at the time I didn't know you, Brian. He said there's a guy Brian which wanted my job here.
That's right.
Yeah.
But you can say, like, early in my career when I would, like, go out for something that was sexy, I would tell people, like, I'm going out for this thing. But, like, that doesn't mean that I'm at all close to getting it.
Right.
But technically, yeah, I auditioned to play Han Solo in the Han Solo Star Wars movie. But so did everyone that I knew and everyone in, like, New York and Los Angeles. So I guess it's like when you think about, like, over-promising, under-deliver, or under-promising and over-delivering.
It's two different ways to do it. I mean, as you say, but some people, like as I said before, because you speak with so many people, I mean, for sure, if Fred and, as I said before, Toto would tell whoever they speak with, I mean, they speak with everybody, but it's the same like you talk with sponsors, talk with these great companies, but you don't want to make that public, because if it doesn't happen, you look pretty stupid, So, in the end, and I don't know how much, maybe we are surprised, and Carlos and Adrian signed in the next 2 weeks, and and I'm saying it's all good. I'm fine with that one.
All right, we're gonna ask some fan questions here. This is from Anley G98. What's your favorite racing movie?
Rush, the Niki Lauda one. Quite like
How
that
accurate?
one.
How was it? An accurate depiction of your idol, friend?
Yeah, I would say so. And I spoke with him, and he said the guy was actually pretty good. Was a good actor in doing. Nicky said, I told him how to do it. I said, how comes? He was with me for 2 days, and I told him everything. All right, Honestly, this is a true story.
Yeah.
I mean, that was Nicky,
Yeah.
Okay, whatever,
Yeah.
So you, Brian, for your career, just go with somebody you need to play for 2 days, and you will be perfect.
There we go. This is from Nick Spillert. How is Mattia Binotto's wine?
I haven't tried it because it's the first. I actually spoke with him, I think 2 weeks ago, when he opens when it is ready, because it needs because it's sparkling wine, so it needs to I think it's at least 3 or 4 years. So end of this year, we're going to try it, because I said, I see you during the summer break, but he said the wine is not ready. It will be at Christmas. So I need to go and see him at Christmas. So I didn't try it properly.
Are you nervous? Because I have friends who like show me their scripts, right? Or they show me their short film. I'm like, I really hope this doesn't suck, because then it's going to put me in a position. Are you scared that his wine is going to be really bad and you're going to have to like be a great actor, or you'll just tell him that it sucks?
I tell him.
No problem.
How's
problem.
Yeah. You'll just be straight up with him. That doesn't shock me. How's he doing? How is he enjoying this winemaking process? Do you see the similarities with how he would fine tune an engine? Is he bringing some of that same skill set to winemaking?
He's doing fine, and I spoke with him 2 weeks ago, and he's quite a lot in the winery. When I phone him up, I find him. I'm just here having lunch at the winery with the people there. So I don't know how much he works, but his cellar, he did it all himself. He kitted out everything, which is pretty cool. I was there last year. I don't remember, after months or something like this. I went to see him. We met up there, but he's doing a nice job, and I think it relaxes him. That's my opinion about it, because he still hasn't got a full-time job. So that's maybe his full-time job for the future. I don't know.
Well, does he have any desires to get back into motorsport?
Yeah, he's looking around what to do, but it's when his whole career he was at Ferrari. He never worked anywhere else than Ferrari, which is very bizarre to me, because I got sucked everywhere, So, no, he was always there. So for him, obviously, he's quite shaped, molded in one way, So he's quite strict what he wants to do and what not.
What would your, if you were getting, you're doing this, obviously you're doing this podcast now, you're still in the Formula One sphere of things. If there's a day where you're saying, I don't want to be involved with Formula One at all, I'm getting out of here completely, I never want to see a racing track ever again in my life. What's the hobby? What's the thing you're doing? What's the vocation?
You got me here, I'm speechless, which happens very seldom, I don't know what I would be doing. I quite like real estate,
Okay.
You like real estate. What do you like about real estate, other than the money that...
The investing, exactly, the money thing, the investing, doing these things, I quite like that one. But I don't know if I would think about retiring. I'm at the age now that I need to retire.
Right, but Guenther, what would you do with all that time? My dad has the same problem. He's like, I don't know what I do.
I wouldn't know what to do. That far, the question wouldn't come up. If you don't do Formula One, maybe, I've got a company which I would get involved in, which at the moment I'm not involved in because my business partner is very good at doing it, so I don't want to fuck it up, So it's like maybe I would get involved in that one, but there is always something to do. I could not just sit back and not do nothing,
Right. Question about Mattia and you, when you went to his winery and they filmed it for Drive to Survive, you guys were in what I can only describe as a comically small car. The question is that just Mattia's car, or was that provided for you guys from Netflix? Like, is that just his car?
What your comically small car is a Fiat 500, just to educate you a little bit.
Well, you guys are just so tall. You guys are just so, like, you're
all
so
Fiat 500,
big.
a very old one. And how this happened that we ended up with this car, when we discussed what should we use to drive, we were with, he had a driver to drive his car at the race, and the guy is there at Ferrari since ever, and he said, I've got an old Fiat 500, you want to use that one? That is how easy things come up, And, let's do that one, But it was just, this is his hobby of this guy, which is was his chauffeur at the time. And now he's driving Fred around, the same guy. Simone is his name. He's a good guy. And he says, you can have my car. All right, then. Let's do a 500 gig.
But it looked like a clown car with the two of you.
But we are two clowns. What do you give two clowns?
No,
a clown car.
That's why everyone loved it so much. It was like, this is perfect. This is exactly
for clowns. Yeah, clowns with a clown car.
What is your favorite road car?
My Toyota Tundra.
Oh yeah.
My Toyota Tundra. When in Rome, behave like a Roman. I can continue to tell you that. If you live in North Carolina, you need a big truck.
Yeah.
Nothing else.
Yeah. So no shoveling snow for you. You're just fucking hauling ass out
I
of
fit
there.
in here. Yeah, exactly. I fit in here,
Do you feel like when they say, Andretti is going to be like the first big American team, you're like, fuck you. I live in North Carolina. I drive a Toyota Tundra. I am American. I brought Gene Haas as an American. Do you feel like that's shade at you? People forget that Haas is American.
Yeah, they forget, but it's also a publicity stunt. We did this American team. I mean, Haas is an American team. It's got an American license, so right. I wouldn't say. And I always say F1 is such a global sport. You don't take the only national team is actually Ferrari. All the other ones. Right. Would you know which license is Red Bull running under?
British,
English,
aren't they?
probably.
No,
Austrian.
Austrian.
Yeah, but they have nothing in Austria. It's such a global sport, so I don't think the nationality comes so much in place like in other sports. That's my opinion, again.
Right. Well, they claim the drivers and all that kind of jazz.
Yeah.
Well, Haas, there's been this news report that they're closing their doors in NASCAR. What do you think that means? Do you think that means that there's going to be more money going towards F1, or do you think that means that there's maybe like a overall?
Brian, did you not read the news? I'm not there anymore, so I don't know.
Okay. If you had, we can. You don't have to talk about this.
No, yeah, we can talk about it.
Okay.
It was a joke. Yeah. No, I don't really know what Gene Haas intends to do. I think the NASCAR team. I don't know if he got bored of it, if it didn't make financial sense anymore. It's just like, let's close it. So I don't know if there is, because of that, there is more money going to F1. I have no idea about that.
Did you ever go to him and be like, enough with this NASCAR thing? Maybe.
No, I wouldn't go there because I don't dislike NASCAR. Are you watching NASCAR, you guys?
No.
Come on.
I can't get through the stages. All the stages, that just kind of lost me a little bit.
I think if I can understand it, how comes you cannot? It's like, Jesus.
No, we can understand it. It's just we feel like, is this, the stages just feel like, are we racing here? What's going on?
It seems random. See, Formula One, it seems like, maybe a little too much like the same guy wins.
Structured, yeah.
But like NASCAR, it just seems kind of random.
Yeah, it's one of these things. I think if you watch it long enough, I mean, in the beginning, I had problems as well to understand the sport, absolutely. But now, if I'm at home, I mean, I don't watch the whole race, to be honest. I go in and out because, sitting there for 5 hours is like...
Yeah, right.
So you're casual. You're casual.
Exactly. Casual, yeah.
Yeah. One more fan question. Between Ollie Berman, Kimi Antonelli, and Liam Lawson, who do you think will have the easiest transition into their F1 career?
I think Liam, because he drove already a few races last year, and he did pretty well, I must say. So I think, because he has done more than the other one.
Right. Well, Berman had that one, he had the good race, when he filled in for Carlos. However, Antonelli is whooping Berman in F2 right now.
Yeah, and they are in the same team, We have to say that as well, which is, So, yeah, I mean, everybody, I don't know Kimi at all, but everybody speaks very highly about him, and his career up to Formula 2 was very impressive, and therefore they jumped Formula 3. They didn't do the Formula 3. So, obviously in Formula 2, he's getting there. It took a little bit, but let's see what he can do the second half of the season, if he keeps improving. But I think with Ollie, that race in Formula 1, doing the FP1s, it is a little bit distracting you to do an F2 championship. That's my opinion.
Right.
Or to do it to win it, If you can do an F1 race, do 6 FP1s and win F2, it's like, is it not a little bit too easy to win F2? And it isn't easy winning F2 with the talent there like Kimi Antonelli and his people.
Right.
Okay, before we go, anything grinding your gears, Guenther? Anything about F1, the state of F1 that's keeping you up at night, or you'd like to just blast off on?
No, I think you guys have got a good grip on what is going on. I think we spoke a lot of things here, So no, there's nothing.
We did a perfect job.
All right, Canada's coming up. What do you think's going to happen there? Do you think Red Bull is going to be, off the pace, or do you think that they're going to? It seems like Canada, it's a bumpy track. It's another street track. Doesn't necessarily play to their strengths. Do you have any predictions there?
I think the McLarens will be strong. That's my prediction.
Ooh.
That's my prediction. Yeah, that's my prediction. I did the prediction for the Monte Carlo qualifying. I don't know if I did it with you guys or with somebody else, and I said Leclerc, Verstappen, Piastri. I just got Verstappen wrong. You see?
Yeah. I'm glad we all run together, all these people that you talk to. Gunther.
It
feels
don't,
really
don't
good.
talk to us about the people you're cheating on us with. Damn.
Don't get jealous,
He's cheating on us with Ralph Schumacher and Will Buxton, and he's shaking his head.
That's right. All right. Amazing. Well, until next time. That's episode 2 of Vankah Hours, coming to you every Thursday after a race week, and even a few more episodes sprinkled out throughout. So our next episode will be the Thursday following Canada. June 13th will be our next episode coming out. And so, subscribe everywhere that you are listening to this, and on YouTube and all the right places. Until next time.
Goodbye, Vankahs.
Goodbye, Wankos.
Yeah. It never gets old. I don't care.